Happy Friday. It's Mark's Nice with Ads. We still have the DeAndre Swift signed jersey. All you got to do is be a subscriber for a chance to win. We are going to get into Z-Score. What is a Z-Score? It is actually created by, what's his name, David Zach. He's created a compilation of multiple Z-Scores, and this does they early declare. What is their draft capital? What is their physical metric? What is their breakout age? What is their career production? What is their film grade? Now, of course, film grades are person-by-person basis, so that is something that does affect part of this basically aggregate scoring, and it comes out with a Z-score, and it comes out with an estimated points per game. We're going to do this. We're going to do this class, the 2022 class, and then we're going to talk about what that even looked like compared to the 2021 class, because I can give you a Z-score of a C, but what does that actually mean compared to some of the players of the previous year? And so Treylon Burks is the number one. So actually I'm going to go scoot over here. And you get to see this nice little fancy chart here. And so Treylon Burks gets to be a B+. The slight edge over Garrett Wilson. What we have said kind of all along, even without some of the analytics, just watching video and watching tape, is that we thought that Treylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, in that order, were my three wide receivers pre-draft. And then you just add draft capital, and you have A+, and you're having some of these players, again, right up towards the top. This is no surprise. I feel like this doesn't shock anybody. The only thing that might shock people is Jameson Williams is up there. They did give him a B+ for film grade. I would maybe give him a B, and that B might turn a 13.2 into a 12.9, and he might be right below Drake London. Surprise, surprise. Nothing new here. Nothing that we have really been shocked about. Really, we kind of knew that those were the players. And then we go to the tier 2 wide receivers. I talked about how I really like George Pickens. George Pickens is actually way down here. He's at a C+. And then we look at even Sky Moore, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, Christian Watson, all into that B- C+ range. Something very interesting is Wan'Dale Robinson, who I'm going to call the Kadarius Toney replacement here. I think he's going to replace Kadarius Toney. Apparently, they don't like Kadarius Toney there, even though he's a first-round pick. Wan'Dale Robinson was the highest, I would say, and I do see there are some really things to like about Wan'Dale Robinson. The biggest concern is size. And when you talk about size with a wide receiver, what did they give him for? Physical metric F. They included that as an F. But you look at career production, B+, team adjusted efficiency, B+, draft capital B, he's an early declare, his film grade, they gave him a C, but a B- total for Z-score. So not actually a bad Z-score. And I agree with a lot of this here. And then we even look at breakout age, like John Mechie, a D. But you look at some of the receivers he was around. Devonte Smith, and then he was around Jameson Williams. Alabama wide receivers galore. He hasn't been able to be a top wide receiver. It seems like Alabama's had 2-3 wide receivers for the last 5-6 years. So I can understand that. We're also going to do running backs at some point, by the way, too. But I find this actually, reassuring, I guess, because I really do believe that you have some really good wide receivers, and we're going to talk about this compared to the 2021 class and come up with a point that I really want to stick into people and really want to emphasize, but we'll get to that point. Some of the players, like, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Velus Jones, I literally have just been watching tape on mute while I've been watching some other shows. My wife's watching shows, and I'm just like watching tape on mute. So, and I can't even pronounce Eric Azumana's name. It doesn't matter, but they're Fs. And they're players that I'm not really interested in anyways. And then Romeo Doubs, who I actually liked a little bit better than a D. Tyquan Thornton, again, just speed. That's all he basically is. I don't like that pick. I don't understand it. He draft capital of B, but yet. And then Jalen Tolbert, C- for draft capital, but he gets a C+. They like other things about him. They like career production. They like the physical metric of him, and I agree with some of that too. And then breakout age for George Pickens. He was a stud as a freshman. He definitely gets that A here. So what does this eventually mean, really? We're going to go to the 2021 class here so you guys can see. And remember, B+ was the top, and now we look at this metric, and we have Rashad Bateman actually as the number one wide receiver. So you might go, oh, well, we got to throw this metric out the window. Rashad Bateman was a really good wide receiver. You could say that part of his issue was honestly, he was hurt going into the beginning of last year, and potentially even seeing that they traded Marquise Brown away would be a good thing, that Rashad Bateman might be the guy that they think that we all thought he was last year, and maybe a buy low here. But you see Jamar Chase, Devonte Smith, they have even Elijah Moore, who I really like as well. And then they have Jalen Waddle. Those are all wide receivers, especially like the Chase and Smith, were above and beyond what the receivers were last year. So this is something that I really want to stick in as a point. Make sure that you are understanding that the wide receivers of this class, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Treylon Burks, are not the next Jamar Chase, even probably the next Devonte Smith. We've had too much pleasure in the wide receiver rookie department in the last couple of years. We've been over gifted with the Justin Jeffersons. You're going to have more years of like CeeDee Lamb, which are frustrating, but to be more expected. Even Jalen Waddle, who D for hand size, but I mean, you look at everything else, breakout age, you can understand that. Career production, you can understand that. I mean, he was injured. He had a lower breakout age. Again, Alabama wide receiver. It's just, that's what you get when you're an Alabama wide receiver. Same with Devonte Smith as a C. D for hand size, so they really kind of harped on everybody's hand size. And if you look at Rodgers down there below, the guy with 4 catches, 2.2. That's not so great down there. The one thing that I would say against is I did not see, I forget that Tutu Atwell is not actually his first name. I do not understand. They didn't have video on here, I believe, from last year, but Tutu Atwell is not. I mean, team adjusted market share, F. Career production, yeah, A-. Breakout age, B. Draft capital, B-. I think video is going to definitely help probably filter some of these players down, because you will look at Tutu Atwell and you can go, yeah, he's definitely not a B-, but you don't have a video aspect to last year, so we have to understand that. And if you add video to Elijah Moore and Jalen Waddle, I would assume that they're probably going to be up into that A- range, because their video was amazing. I mean, Elijah Moore and Jalen Waddle were 2 players that I loved video-based wise, and even Devonte Smith and Jamar Chase would have probably went up there with Rashad Bateman, very, very, very close. And I even said Rashad Bateman was up there with Jamar Chase and Devonte Smith as that tier 1 wide receiver. But the more I watched with video, I just felt like, man, the analytics say, yeah, he's as good, but then I just could not keep him up there with video. Watching the video, I was like, Jamar Chase, Devonte Smith are better wide receivers, and then even Jalen Waddle eventually jumped him as well, because I just saw the electricity coming from Jalen Waddle. So what does this mean? Let's go back to the 2022 class here. They do have a film-adjusted grade, which I love. I definitely think that's going to be a very important key, but I think that's going to help really push down some of the players that need to be pushed down, like they have a C+ on Sky Moore. I don't really understand that one, but Wan'Dale Robinson, they have it a little bit lower than a Chris Olave or a Drake London or even a Jahan Dotson, which I agree with that assessment. I think Wan'Dale Robinson's not as nearly talented, but then you shove people down like Tyquan Thornton and Romeo Doubs, which I do agree on. I do, watching the video. Surprising, this to me, I don't know where this film grade comes from, but I think David Bell is better than a C film grade-wise. So I'm a little shocked there. He did get a D for draft capital. Again, this is a C scoring system, so it's not... This is just analytics. It's just numbers thrown at you from one individual that I think just kind of reassures where some of these wide receivers are. I believe that this is going to be a really good wide receiver 2 class in the high wide receiver 3 class, which doesn't mean that they're horrible. It just means that you're not going to get the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase level of production. You're going to be seeing some of these wide receivers that are going to float between 18 and 20 and 25. Be really good producers. You're going to be Terry McLaurin's. You're going to have DJ Moore's. Then maybe they don't score as much rookie year. Maybe they have some faults and stuff. And you're going to see a lot of that in this wide receiver class. That's why a lot of times I'm trading out of this class. The only pick that I'm really, really interested in is 101. And that's Breece Hall. Everything else, I'm kind of like, I can trade for it later, right? Like, one of the 3 of Drake London, Treylon Burks, and Garrett Wilson is probably going to be a dud. Even Rashad Bateman level kind of dud, you could say. And I'm just going to not want to bet on that. I'm going to just continue to maybe trade for trade for a couple more years of Mike Evans. Trade for that plus something for T. Higgins. Trade that plus something for Jalen Waddle if somebody's down on Jalen Waddle, or trade 2 firsts away for Jalen Waddle. or even 2 firsts away for what I've actually done specifically is Devonte Smith. And I did that even with A.J. Brown there, which hurt me a little bit. But if you have a mid and a late first or 2 late firsts, I'm okay with trading those away for Devonte Smith, who I think is the better overall prospect. And these are trades that I'm doing. So what is happening in the next couple days of the channel? We are going to be doing, the next, I should say, week, so you guys have a projection of what's going to happen. We're going to be doing startup drafts. So we're going to be doing some mock startup drafts so you guys can see where some of these advice things for startups are, because you guys are getting into these leagues, different leagues. Number 2 is we're going to keep doing a little bit of draft stuff here and there. We're going to be sprinkling it in and seeing what models, what more analytics and stuff, driven stuff that we can find, and what we can create up with, because I think that is still important. People are going to be still doing drafts. I think we have a couple drafts in July, a couple in August. Like, it's going to get busy here soon. And what else are we going to do? We're going to do something else. I had it on my mind. Maybe some buy lows, sell highs, stuff like that. Maybe some rankings things. It's going to be a mixed bag. And if you have any other questions or ideas, please just let me know, and we'll probably go through it. I mean, at this point, we don't have many people saying, hey, do this, do this, do this. And so if you say, hey, I would like you to cover this aspect of Dynasty Football, I'd be like, okay, let's do it. All right, this is Marcus Dynasty Football. Peace out. Take care.